The MMA India Show.
Hello, Anthony. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, you made headlines after the last one. You felt a little undersized at 205 pounds. This fight is obviously at 205. Can you just talk about the decision to take this fight and at this weight?
Uh, you know, one of my biggest qualities and one of my worst qualities is I'm very honest with you guys, and I answer the questions that you guys ask right away without thinking about it. So I obviously initially I was having some issues, at least thinking about what weight class I wanted to stay in and whether I wanted to go down or if I wanted to get bigger or whatever. And that was just my thoughts in that moment. Obviously, after getting home and thinking about it and considering cutting back down to 185, I immediately remembered how bad that was. So I just decided to get stronger and try to put on a little bit more weight. I was able to put on a little bit, but putting on good, healthy, lean weight is really, really hard and it's a slow process. So I'm much stronger and a little bit bigger, not a bunch, but I definitely added some strength. So that's why I'm still here at 205.
How has that helped with the mental aspect? Because I'm assuming coming off back-to-back losses, it'd be easy to get a little discouraged. So, how much has knowing you've gone back to the gym, put in that work for your physical stature, helped out with just the, I guess, mental aspect of getting ready for another fight and to snap this skid?
I kind of reworked everything. It's not just about the strength and the size. It's a lot about my mental work that I don't think I did. A few years ago I did a better job of managing a lot of the mental side of the game. But I think as everything took off and I got so busy, I think that was one of the things that kind of got thrown to the side, and I didn't manage it or organize my mental stuff, my mental capacity, or my mental game very well. So I think that it was. I think I just kind of got caught in a bad storm. I did a lot of things this training camp differently, and maybe to the average person, it wouldn't seem that much different. But you guys didn't see me working the analyst desk this entire training camp. If you're a listener to my radio show, I only did 1 hour once a week on my radio show. I cut way back on my show. I didn't do any episodes of my podcast with Laura Senko. Um, I just took a lot of things off my plate, and fortunately, I have a lot of people that support me that help pick up the slack on that and pick up the pieces that I'm not doing. So I think that was some of it, and that gave me more time to talk to my therapist and manage my thoughts and really just brain drain. You know what I mean? You get so much stuff going on in your head. I'm a father of three. I'm married. You got all the duties and responsibilities that come along with that on top of training camp and again all those other things that I had on my plate, the analyst stuff, my podcast, my radio show. Um, I just needed to manage that and organize it better, and I think I did a really good job of doing that this training camp.
My final question, you've obviously been one of the big faces in UFC for Factory X, your team. I just wanted to know, what's it like seeing Brandon Royval's rise this year? And he goes from unknown to now he's one of the top flyweights, and he's your teammate over there.
Yeah, it's been really cool to watch Brandon, but it's been cool to watch a lot of those guys. Jonathan Martinez, Yusuf Zalal, obviously Brandon, Chris Gutierrez. I mean, the list goes on. Like, there's a lot of those guys. And to be honest with you, one of the funnest things to watch is all those guys are very similar in size. So watching all those guys train together and just go after each other, it's one of the coolest things in the world. It's just all these super high level, smaller guys just getting after it. And then to see the camaraderie that everyone has afterwards, it's really cool, man. The culture we have at Factory X is one of a kind. So, I was heartbroken for Brandon, but at the same time, I've been there before. You have those tough injuries, and this is one of those things where it just happens. But I have no doubt that he'll bounce back.
Hey, thank you, Anthony. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
We'll take our next question from Dane Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Anthony. Coming into this,
Hey, you hold on a second. Well, you don't know how to answer text messages anymore?
I texted you back. Did you not respond?
No, you didn't respond.
I'm going to check my text message. This is over.
How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Uh, Obviously, you're never a guy to make excuses, but you've had such a crazy year when you really think about this, from the home invasion thing to the pandemic kind of starting and stopping your fights, and then going through everything you went through. Like, can you kind of wrap your head around what this year has been for you? Because it has been kind of insane.
Yeah, it's been really tough, man. And like you know how it is. We talk a lot. Like I'm never gonna make an excuse, even when it's handed to me. I just it hasn't been the easiest year I've ever been through. That's for sure. And some of it's my fault. Maybe if I was maybe if I was more of a man, I'd have the balls to maybe pull out of some of those fights and know that maybe some of those weren't the best situations that I should have been fighting in. But I just don't have it in me. I just don't have it in me to say that I can't do something. So, even going into the Glover fight right after the home invasion during the whole pandemic thing, and my family's in shambles or whatever, like maybe it would have been maybe it would have been the more manly thing to do, to just say, hey, listen, like I'm having some serious issues at home. I can't do this right now. But that means I would actually have to say it out loud, that I can't do it. And I just don't, like, I'm not built like that. Like, my brain is just not wired like that. So it's been tough, man. But unfortunately, this year's been tough for the entire world. And my struggles are very, very first world problems. My family's safe. My bills are paid. Everybody's taken care of. I don't worry about a whole lot of things in life. So I don't want to pretend like my year has been any worse than the rest of the world, and specifically the country. It's been really tough for everyone. So I think everyone else and myself just hope that 2021 brings some better stuff. That's for sure.
With that being said, you know this from being an analyst, doing your own show, how reactionary this sport is. When you win a big one, when you knock out Shogun, you're the greatest light heavyweight in the world, man. Anthony on his way to the title. You lose one fight, suddenly you're a bum, you're no good. Like, how do you deal with it? Because I think people forget, like in the Glover fight, obviously winning early, and credit to him for surviving and coming back. And obviously, I know the Rakic fight didn't go your way, but again, you went to a decision. It wasn't it didn't go your way, but that's just part of the sport. But does it bug you, the kind of the kind of reactionary way this sport goes, where you lose two fights and suddenly you're washed up, or you're not the guy you were? Does it disappoint you? That's the reaction you get sometimes.
I used to worry about that stuff, I think, more when I was younger. But honestly, now I expect it now. So I think it's easier to deal with when you expect it. Um, but it is disappointing sometimes to see how fickle people are. And it's some of the media too at the same time, where it's, they'll big you up 1 second. Oh, excuse me. And then the next they're tearing you down. So fortunately for me, I've had pretty good experiences compared to a lot of people with the media. But I think that's just part of the game. And it is crazy to me, like watching team sports like football or baseball or whatever, like even when teams are doing really, really bad, like people still stick with their team, like I have friends that are Jacksonville fans, and it's like, well, how is that even possible? It's like, but every day they're flying their flags and they're pumping up their team, and it's just like sometimes I wish that uh, the MMA fans were a little bit more like that, but our sport is very different, so I do get it.
I'm a Bengals fan, so trust me, I understand that mentality.
See, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Last one for when you Devin. Devin, comes from a wrestling background. Obviously, very tough guy, but obviously he hasn't. He has faced good competition, but he hasn't been able to get over that hump. Obviously fighting guys like Jan Blachowicz, and there's no shame whatsoever in losing to those kind of guys. But do you feel like that once again will be, your biggest advantage? You have won those big fights. You know what it's like. You know what it's like to be in those trenches and win those fights. You feel like that is an advantage for you, in this fight.
Yeah, I do. I think my biggest advantage is knowing Devin's game. The the problem with me for everyone else is I'm unpredictable. You never know what I'm going to do. Sometimes I'm going out to the grapple. Sometimes I want to strike. And to be 100% honest with you, it just depends on how I feel when I wake up that day. And I just go with the flow. Devin's very predictable. We all know what he has to do. As much respect as I have for him, and as cool as I think the story of him and his dad, father and son, corner and fighter, I think that's one of the coolest things in the world, especially coming from a guy who didn't have a dad growing up. I really think that's cool. I don't think there's a world that exists where Devin stands with me for 15 minutes and survives. It just this is not reality. He's a phenomenal grappler. He's a phenomenal wrestler. The problem with him being so good there and not so good everywhere else is we know exactly what he needs to do to win. Alexander Rakic is a little different. I wasn't expecting Alexander Rakic to have his game plan to hold me down for 15 minutes, not posture, not punch, not pass, and ride out the decision. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think I would have that issue with Devin Clark.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks, man.
We'll take our next questions from Stephen Rocco with Fox Media.
Hey, Anthony.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good.
It sounds like, listening to you talk about paring your schedule down and sort of focus more on fight-related stuff as opposed to non-fight related stuff. It's been kind of hard for you to say, like, I can't do everything. Like, do you think a part of this has sort of been like recognizing your limitations this year?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it, man. I spend 2 1-hour sessions a week with my therapist. Just, I guess, over the last, I don't know, really since I fought Alexander Rakic, just figuring out, kind of like you said, like I can't do it all. I can't do it all, and I can't have it all in my cake too. I just can't, like. And we really talk about keeping the main thing. Like, I love fighting and I love being a fighter and I love everything that comes with it. But sometimes some of the stuff that comes with that is it's the media side of it. It's the analyst gigs, which I love. I love being an analyst. I love coming to the events. I love talking to the guys. I love talking about them. I love bigging them up and maybe shedding a light on something that maybe fans wouldn't typically see and maybe drawing fans to that specific person. I love my radio show. I love all that stuff. But the thing that gave me all those opportunities to do that is fighting. And if I'm pulling away too much from fighting and I'm taking away from the main thing and I can't do that. That's what got me here. So I think just really managing that stuff and to be honest, I'm not too proud to say that I have so much stuff going on in my head that sometimes my head is spinning and I don't know which direction to go. And that's not just fight related. That's just in life in general. The world is a crazy place right now, especially. So, she's really helped me a lot. Just really slowing myself down a little bit. And like you said, kind of just realizing what my limitations are.
So what gets you back to your current schedule on the UFC commentary desk? You're good at it and the opportunities are there. Do you have to get a win to sort of go back to the way things were, or is this sort of the new normal?
No. I mean, I'm still getting, I got plenty of offers to work the desk, during this camp. I just with my my obligations to my family and to my own training camp, I just wasn't able to accept those offers. I already have, two for sure. I already have 2 analyst gigs coming up after this fight. So I'm right back on the desk. I think that just during training camp, I just need to delegate that time. Just needs to be for myself. It's really tough, when there's been training camps where I've worked, 3 or 4 gigs during one training camp, and it's just a lot. It's just super busy, and then it takes away from the little bit of home time I do have. So it's not just analyst stuff. I do so much stuff, man. Like I'm like taking trips with my family. I'm riding my Razor. I'm going to the dunes. I'm going to South Dakota. I'm riding in Texas. I'm like, I'm all over the place, and I just had to dial all that stuff back and just realize like the things that afford me the ability to do that and live the lifestyle I live is fighting. So I need to focus as much on fighting as I was focusing on the rewards of fighting. Um, and honestly, it's been really comfortable. It's been a lot of fun, like really not having anything to worry about during camp except just being in camp.
Hmm. I saw you giving a message of support to Shogun Rua. Um, what did you think of that fight? And do you agree with Dana's assessment that he should move on?
Um, even before I fought Shogun, he was someone that I looked up to and an idol. I love the way he fights. I love the way that he approaches the game. He's crazy respectful, and it's crazy just being in a room with that guy. Like he just has this weird aura about him that it's just I don't know how to explain it. But whether I fought him or not, I want to see Shogun. As long as it's not against me, I want to see Shogun win every single fight that he's ever in. So, oh, excuse me. It's hard to watch him lose. It was hard to watch him lose like that too. Um, he said he had a really bad injury that affected him. I'm not sure. I will say, like I don't ever like to like put that bad juju on people and say, it's definitely his decision and where he feels like he's at as far as retirement. Like him and his team need to do that. But I will say that I don't want to watch Shogun lose anymore, and I definitely don't want to watch him lose like that.
Gotcha. Thanks, Anthony.
Hey, thanks, man. Take care.
We'll take our next question from Patrick Perkowski with TVP Sport.
Hi, Anthony. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay. You just said that you have, with this career at the panel desk as an expert, and after these 2 losses, I just wonder what drives you to still compete. Do you maybe have some kind of feelings that it's a make or break, this fight with Devin Clark, or you still want you are still striving as a competitor?
I'm still chasing a world title, man. That's always been my goal. The second that I don't care about winning a world title is exactly when I'll retire. I think I just got off track a little bit. I think that I just didn't manage stuff correctly, and it is what it is. That's how this game goes, and I'm not going to sit and feel sorry for myself. I'm going to get back on the horse and do it again. But that's what's driving me. If that was the only part of your question, that's it. I want to be a world champion. That's it for that one day. Even if I was to drop off the face of the earth the next, for that one day, I would be the best in the world, and that's all I want.
Okay, and the fighters say that you either win or you learn, right? And I'm curious, what have you learned from these last 2 fights?
I learned a lot. I like to credit myself on being the guy that learns from any situation, but from the last one, I need to be more intentional for sure. I think I have so many fights, and if you combine my professional and my amateur career, I have like 73 fights. So, and I'm 32 years old. So it's a lot of fights, and not that, since I was 17. So I think that I get too comfortable in there sometimes, and I get really lackadaisical, and I think that I've pulled out so many late fight finishes that I just bank on like, all right, I'll just hang out here for a minute, like I'll figure it out eventually. And sometimes I don't. So I think that we spent a lot of time this training camp just being intentional and not conceding. Sometimes I do concede positions with the intention of figuring it out as we go. And I think that's I can't think of the last time I was in a position or anywhere in a fight that I was uncomfortable or worried. So I think that's a big issue that I had to deal with this training camp. So that's probably the biggest thing. And just slowing it. I think I went the wrong direction. Like the Glover fight, I started off really fast and hot, and then I tried to fix that problem by coming in slow and lethargic, I guess, against Rakic, and neither one of those things fucking worked. So we have to just, I don't know, find a middle ground somewhere.
Okay, and speaking of championship, we know that Izzy Adesanya might come up and fight for the title, and he just said that he's not going to play the game that many fighters that go up are doing, like bulk up, put the muscles and put some extra kilograms. And he said that he's not going to do that. He wants to fight. He wants to compete and to be at the same size, more or less, right? That he is right now. And you, as a former middleweight, I wonder, what do you think about this strategy?
I mean, that's essentially what I did. I've gained, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 pounds. To be honest with you, I've gained 3 or 4 pounds in the last 2 fights, but I'm about 15 pounds lighter competing at light heavyweight than what I walked around at when I was a middleweight. So when I was a middleweight, I walked at like 230. Now I walk around about 215, fighting one weight class higher. So I don't have any problems with his idea of moving up and doing that.
Okay, and if that fight happens, what do you think? How will it play out?
Izzy and Jan?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a crazy interesting fight. I think the size issue is definitely there for Izzy just because Jan is such a big dude, but Izzy's fast, he's accurate. I don't know, that would be a fight that I would have a lot of fun working, just because it'd be fun to really dive deep into those two guys' styles and try to figure out what I think is going to happen. But honestly, just sitting here right now, I have no idea.
Okay, thank you, Anthony, and good luck on Saturday.
Hey, thank you.
That's all the time we have for you today, Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Praveen the Boss. Thanks for watching our video. Click on the subscribe button to catch all the latest videos from MMA India Show and MMAindia.com. Thanks. Cheers.